Blessings everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is Cassandra and you are watching Spotless Mind Tarot on YouTube. Today I will be pulling cards for each of the 12 zodiac signs in order to receive insights into the Leo new moon, which occurs on July 24th, 2025 at 2 degrees and 6 minutes. In this reading, we will come to see how the archetypal energies of this particular moon cycle will affect you for the next 6 months. This 6-month cycle will lead up to the Leo full moon, which takes place on February 1st, 2026 at 13 degrees and 4 minutes. I'll be using the Albano-Waite Tarot deck and the Urban Crow Oracle for these readings. As always, watch for your rising moon or sun sign to get the most out of these readings. If you're not familiar with astrology, then the sun sign that you were born under according to your birth date is good enough for these readings. Timestamps for each of the signs are below. If you would like to support my channel, then please like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tap the notification bell so you can receive notifications whenever I upload a new video. You can also find me on Instagram and Twitter, and if you would like to book a private tarot reading with me, you may do so through my Etsy shop. I also accept tips and donations through PayPal and Venmo. All information can be found below in the description. Aries, rising moon or sun sign. With Aries on the ascendant, this new moon will be placed in your 5th house of self-expression, creativity, passions, hobbies, personal interests, dating life, and children. Okay, so for you guys, we have 2 cards, and we have Justice, and then we have the 5 of Cups. So there's something really disappointing happening. So let's say, for example, you could have dealt with a situation to where you may have received justice or something has gone into your favor, but it appears there was a cost or there was something hidden underneath it. This type of victory you may have experienced that is leading to some disappointment. It was something that you didn't see or you just chose to ignore. Maybe you just didn't think it was possible, or because everything was going in your favor, you didn't think that this could happen, whatever it may be. Okay, so I do feel that you guys have achieved something. You have won a victory. You have received justice in some way, but there's some disappointment that's coming with it. Okay, there is a loss here with the 5 of Cups, so you did lose out on something, or you did lose something in the process. Okay, and it could be anything, because this could be literally anything for all of you. Okay, it's not going to be the same for everybody. And so with that said, for the next 6 months, this new moon you will see this playing out in your 5th house. Okay, and so this could be with children, so this could be dealing with family. So maybe you won custody of your children or something. Maybe you got your child into a private school finally. You've been working really hard and you've been fighting really hard to get your child into school. Or it could be a creative project you've been working on, whether it is something you are looking to make a profit off of, or it's just something that you enjoy doing. Because this new moon is opposing Pluto, this is going to be a very transformative time for you, okay, in the next 6 months, according to the 5th house and to the Leo energy in your birth chart. Okay, and so there is like a feeling of this being like a tower moment for you, because the 5 of Cups is showing that loss, but it's not a complete loss. So we have to remember that there's 2 cups still behind this man, and so he hasn't lost everything. And it's the same thing with the Tower. For the most part, whenever there's a Tower moment, you're not losing everything. You're only losing what isn't stable, it's not suitable, or it's not really serving a purpose. It's a distraction, it's toxic, or it's just not stable. So you can look at it like this, especially with Pluto in opposition, which is going to, and it's in the sign of Aquarius, which is the radical, the rebel, the revolutionary, the humanitarian as well. And so because of that, there's this need to completely, it's like I'm hearing like gut the system. Okay, you want to go to the source of the problem and completely uproot it, because now it seems like there is a reason why you're experiencing this Five of Cups. Is because there's something lingering there. Okay, and I'm thinking of the movie like Princess Mononoke, and in the beginning of the movie, Ashitaka kills a boar, and then they find some kind of like stone or something inside the boar, and it's like cursed or something, and the boar was cursed by this energy, and Ashitaka, spoiler, he gets cursed with it now. But there's something about this, I forget what it is, some kind of iron ore or just some kind of rock of some sort, and that's what I'm seeing. It's like you need to get that rock and pull it out. So you need to uproot something that just isn't serving a purpose. So it's really toxic, okay? Because it is probably the reason for this Five of Cups moment, or this could be something repetitive, like something you experience routinely, okay? Or in similar situations like this. So this could be karmic, okay? And Pluto can deal with karma. Now in the sign of Leo, this is meant for you to really tap into who you truly are and to really clear away what's blocking you. So there is some kind of block here, okay? And I feel, because the Leo represents the sun, and this is your identity, this is your ego, okay? And so you want to strip away, you want to uproot whatever this is, okay? Because I am speaking in like a metaphor for you. Whatever it is, you need to target it and attack it. You need to uproot it, you need to get rid of it. So for some of you, maybe you are cursed in some way. Maybe you are dealing with somebody who is pitting magic or black magic or negative energy on you. They could just be a hater, so it could be anything like that, to where there's just this lingering dark, I don't want to say it like that, I'm not trying to scare you, but there's like this lingering dark force, and it could even be your own shadow. It could be your own self that's causing this to happen. So there's some delays here. With that said, you could be experiencing delays for the next 6 months in the house of Leo. And if you're not a Aries rising, then look to your house where Leo is. But you also want to look at your 5th house, because this is how the new moon is ruling you in general. And I'm just getting, you just want to attack that, okay? So you might have to seek justice out if you aren't experiencing this now. Like if you haven't had any victory, you need to seek out victory in some way, some kind of justice, whatever that may be. And just know that there is going to be a loss in the process. I do feel like, even though, like I said, there's something here that could be like influencing this and you want to get rid of it, at the same time I still feel like it needs to happen, so you know what it is. So you could do everything you can to avoid this if it hasn't happened yet, but I feel like it's gonna happen, okay? But it needs to, because you need to see what it is. And I know that sounds dumb, because it's just like, why can't you just tell me what it is? But unfortunately we have to go through this and figure it out for ourselves. I mean, it sucks, but that's life, right? I mean, if life was always easy, life would be really boring, okay? If there was always peace and harmony, like, we wouldn't grow and evolve. And so these things need to happen, unfortunately, okay? But I don't think it's anything like dangerous or anything like that, but it is something that could cause some kind of depression or some kind of anxiety, okay? So you do want to stay grounded and stay rooted. One of my favorite ways to stay grounded is to listen to singing bowls, or even like just meditation music with frequencies built and created around certain chakras, whatever it is that you feel is being affected. So my solar plexus is affected a lot when it comes, you're going to see anxiety in your solar plexus, okay? But for the most part, like I'll feel anxiety heavily for days, for weeks, or whatever. I find the videos really helpful, the meditation videos, the frequencies, the singing bowls. And you don't have to play it loud. I usually have it really, really quiet. And after a few minutes, I tend to feel a little better. There's some relief there. And so that's one way you can relieve anything that comes up that is really disruptive or just taking you out, because you don't want to, it's not a time to be sedentary. It's not a time to sit around. You do need to take action, because this is the Justice card. Okay, you do want to do what is necessary, so don't procrastinate either. But either way, if things do come up, rest when you need to rest, but also just know that you could easily clear out your feelings and your energies by just taking a moment, okay, and not lingering on it, and you'll find hours later, the next day, that you can take on a task that maybe was stressing you out. Okay, so that's like another message. Okay, and the 5th house can deal with vitality. Okay, and so you do want to look out for just your overall essence, I guess you could say. And so that's basically what I got for you guys for this new moon reading. Okay, so once again, this is a 6-month forecast, and so you may be experiencing this for the next 6 months, all right, in the house of wherever Leo is in your birth chart. And so for the oracle card, I'm going to do something different. I'm not going to read it out loud. I'm just going to post a picture of it on the screen along with what the booklet says. So you may want to pause the video here or just take a screenshot. And I thank you so much for watching, Aries, and I wish you all the best of luck. Taurus, rising moon or sun sign. With Taurus on the ascendant, this new moon would be placed in your 4th house of ancestry, home, family, environment, and foundations, emotional security, and domestic affairs. Taurus, for you guys, we have 3 cards, and I was just gonna take one, but 2 more cards fell out, and then I thought, okay, well, maybe I'll just take 1 more, but 2 more cards fell out again, and a 3rd card kind of jumped out, but I'm not gonna take it, or a 4th card, I guess you could say, and I'll tell you what that is in a minute. But the first card we got is the Page of Swords, and then we have the Emperor, and then we have the Knight of Pentacles, and the other card that jumped out was the Hierophant. So it seems like you guys have a lot going on. You're dealing with a lot of different people at this time. I feel like for some of you, you are separating from a group, whether it is friends, family, a network, a company, anything where there was a group involvement with other people. And I feel like the Hierophant, like the way it jumped out, it was kind of like they were out of here. And so the Hierophant is represented by a Taurus. So I feel like you're the one is out of here, or somebody had left the group that kind of is going to create a domino effect. Everyone's just kind of going to fall out with each other. Okay, so if that hasn't happened yet, this could be something that happens over the next 6 months. And we are dealing with a house of family. It's the 4th house. And so there could even just be disruptions in the home in general. So even if like people don't completely separate from one another, there could just be some kind of disruption that happens. Okay, it doesn't have to be a negative disruption, because these cards are pretty powerful. Aside from the Page of Swords, for the most part, and then we're including the Hierophant, which isn't here, and I choose not to show it for, I don't know, I just don't feel called to show it. The Page of Swords character seems to be a bit confused, or maybe they're ignoring it, or they just choose not to see the problem. Or it's something like they're probably the least confident in the situation. Like they're the ones that doesn't really know what to do, okay? So it could even be you, so because I am reading for you, okay? Now this new moon is opposing Pluto in Aquarius, and so this is probably, I could be mistaken, this is probably the first new moon opposition to Pluto, as he is now in the sign of Aquarius, okay, for the first time, technically the second time, since like the beginning of the creation of this country, so like over 300 years ago, okay, and I'm in America, so the existence of America, that's when we see the American Revolution, and as well as the French Revolution is the last time Pluto was in Aquarius, okay? And that's something to pay attention to for the next, I believe, 19 years. That's how long Pluto will be in the sign. So there's going to be revolutions all around the world. For the most part, this disruption, and it could be something like that, the disruption that you're experiencing, depending on where you live, okay? So there could be something going on with your local government, or just with where you're living, like your place of living. Okay, let's say maybe, you know, prices go up, maybe you're part of the HOA and the fees have gone up or something, and now you need to move or something like that. So it could be something really minor or something really, really major. Okay, it depends who's watching and where you are in the world and what's going on. So for the most part, I feel there's a lot of independence here. Okay, so for you personally, you could be going through a period of having to rely really strongly on yourself. And I would look to these 3 cards for where to rely on these energies. Now, the Page of Swords is cool because he is the most curious out of these signs. He's more willing to look the other way, look outside of the box, look in a direction that no one else has looked in. And that's kind of what Aquarius does. It kind of introduces new ideas and innovations. Okay, so this could even be a time where we see new inventions and stuff and advancements in society. So, after the American Revolution, humanity reached a new modern way of living, essentially, or they began the development of a new way to live. Okay, and so that's what Aquarius does, right? It introduces a new way to be. Okay, it's on a positive side, it's meant to bring us to a higher frequency. Okay, and so I think it's pretty evident that that's not happening everywhere, although it is happening. So even if you do see there is a lot of chaos out there. There's just no denying that, but there is a lot of good stuff happening. You just have to look for it. Okay, and so that's probably where you want to direct your energy. Okay, especially if you are being affected by what's going on in the world, or if you are experiencing something personally that is part of the chaos that's going on in the world. Maybe it is time to start looking for alternative options. Okay, and the Emperor is a very powerful figure because he is, quite frankly, the Emperor. He is a ruler, he is a leader, he is there to serve his people and to not only serve his people, but to rule over people. Okay, so government isn't good or bad, right? There needs to be some form of control, but some people abuse their powers. Okay, but the Emperor isn't the type of individual to abuse his powers, especially because he's in the upright position. So there's no issue here, right? And there's nothing else suggesting otherwise. The Emperor is a force that is very, you could look at it like King Arthur. Okay, like that's probably the best way I could describe it. A King Arthur figure who you could say that these kings aren't always like the best, right? They do their dirty work, but they serve a greater purpose, right? And so that's something to maybe consider, is that what you're doing is to serve a greater purpose. It is meant for you to rise above all the BS, all the chaos. Okay, and so maybe there are rules that need to be broken to get there. Okay, maybe there are certain privileges that you have that you could use to your advantage. Okay, and it's not meant to deceive or manipulate others or to hurt others. It's meant so you can rise to a position of power that puts you in a place to where now you have some kind of control. Okay, and so because we are dealing with the 4th house, this could just be your home in general, whether it is the household, whether it is ownership of a home, whether it's whether you have a family and you're the head of the household, right? Whatever it is that's related to the home, to the family, this is where you want to direct this energy. Okay, and then with Pluto, like I said, this very deeply transformative energy is happening. It's and for Aries, I kind of got a similar theme, so this seems to be the theme that's going on, is that there's gonna be something that's happening to all of us that kind of throws us off, and it's gonna be different for every sign. And I'll probably see it. I've seen it. I'm seeing it again. So I'll see it again in the other signs, to where we have to go through some kind of shitty experience in order to learn something. And we use that to our advantage after we learn it. And for Aries, I was saying, like, it sucks. Why can't you just tell me what that is so I could just do it? But unfortunately, you have to go through whatever it is to learn it for yourself, because it's different when you have experience gives you knowledge or wisdom, right? Knowledge, learning, being told and taught just gives you knowledge. Okay, but experience gives you wisdom. And in this day and age, in this point in history, I think our experiences are what will serve a greater advantage for us. Okay, and then with the Knight of Pentacles, this is a person who, or an archetypal energy of someone who is looking to build a new foundation, to build a new home, to build a new life. Okay, and so you're being called to take control, okay? And it's pretty serious, I'm not gonna lie. Like, this is really important. You need to take control of your household in whatever shape or form that needs to be done, okay? If you're living with your parents, it's time for you to leave. Or maybe your parents are elders and you want to bring them in. You don't want to send them to a care facility. You want to bring them into the home. And so now you have to completely adjust your life for that and have a brand new life. And so you're going to experience a brand new life in the 4th house over the next 6 months, leading up into the Leo full moon, which happens in February. So that will be the culmination point, okay? And so that's when you'll see the finalization of this energy, and maybe even a little bit afterwards, a few weeks afterward, because there is emphasis on earth energy here with the Knight of Pentacles, and that's like kind of the next step, because the Emperor is a goal. I feel like this is where you are now, okay? You're having to direct your energy and your focus and your perceptions into a new direction. You're having to make new rules for yourself because you need to get to the Emperor, okay? And this is how you're going to do it, is the Knight of Pentacles. And so you need to basically just step it up is what I'm getting. Like, so there's like a Saturnian energy to this, and Saturn is retrograde right now. And so from now until November, it's a good time to plan, okay? It's a good time to make blueprints for whatever it is. It doesn't have to be just this in particular. It could be overall in your life. But when it does come to Saturnian things, so having rule and control and having a strong foundation and support system, this is where you want to look. You want to look to the Knight of Pentacles. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of losing my train of thought. Just set the tone and be serious. Like, this is really serious shit, okay? I think this is really important for you. But for the most part, I feel for the next 6 months, you are, even if there is like separation between other people, or you're just having to rise to the occasion, I feel like it is going to lead to something really positive. So there is going to be a breaking point, because that's what Pluto does. There's a breaking point with Pluto, and it's meant to break you open and to dig up what is hidden, okay, and shine light in where there is none, okay? And so it's gonna be really uncomfortable, or it could be, okay? For some, it could be bad. I don't think it's dangerous, okay? But it could just be emotionally turmoil for you. But it is leading to something much stronger, something much more reliable. And I feel like the biggest message here is that your security is at risk right now, and over the course of the next 6 months, you will be building on rebuilding that security, and it's going to be much stronger. And I think you're also going to have more self-awareness too, about yourself and just about things in general. So that's what I got for you guys. And so now for your oracle card, I'm going to post a picture of it on the screen along with what the booklet says. So you may want to pause the video or take a screenshot. And with that said, thank you so much, Taurus, for watching, and I wish you all the best. Gemini, rising, sun, or moon sign. With Gemini on the ascendant, this new moon will be placed in your 3rd house of communications, language, writing, short distance travel, education, your neighbors, and your relatives. Okay, so for you guys, we got the Hangman in reverse, as well as the Page of Cups. I think you're in a period or in a state of confusion, or you're trapped in some kind of illusion, right? There's also like some inability to see something really clearly. So it may not even be your fault entirely, okay? But because I am bringing this up, it might be a good idea to take some awareness or take some active steps to try to see something more clear, okay? With the Hangman, I also feel like there's some kind of refusal here on your part. There's something you're refusing to see, or something you're refusing to accept, or you're trying to ignore it. You're trying to like ignore the problem away. So with this happening in your third house, this could be something that you're struggling to communicate. It could be something within that you can't see, okay? So you want to be careful with that, because if there's something you can't see within, then you're going to project that and you're not going to be able to see it without, and you're not going to see it out in the world. So whatever it may be, you could be, and it's interesting because Saturn's in retrograde right now, and Mercury's in retrograde right now too, as I'm recording this. But Saturn will be in retrograde until November, until the end of November. There's something here that you need to admit to yourself, or you need to admit to others. There's something here that you can no longer run away from. And I do feel that it is that deep. And I've been feeling that this new moon is pretty serious so far for Aries, Taurus, and Gemini, and I've already recognized the theme that's going to happen. I usually can tell there's like a pattern between all the signs, and it's always a different theme every new moon. And with this new moon is opposing Pluto in Aquarius, and so that's a pretty big deal because they're both at 2 degrees. So they're both in direct conflict with one another, for better or for worse. And for the most part, there's something here that needs to happen in order for you to gain the experience of it. I don't think it's something that I could just tell you. And even like me giving you this reading and bringing it to your awareness, it's still not going to be enough, okay? It's just something you have to experience. And all the other signs are going to have to experience something, because Pluto is here to radically transform this area of your life, okay, in both houses, in the third house and then a house opposite the third house, which is the 9th house, okay? And so this does affect your belief system. It does affect your philosophy and how you understand the world and what you believe about the world and history, and let's say even like propaganda, okay? And so maybe you are waking up to something here that you once fell for. And I do feel it could be that serious for some of you, because with everything that's going on right now, I do feel that we are in some very transformative times. And if we don't take control of our lives, regardless of what we think politically, religiously, whatever, if we don't take control, we're going to be easily got. We're going to get caught up in someone else's bullshit, basically. And because you are a Gemini, because you are air sign, okay, because you are affected by political issues anyways, or affected by just information in general, okay, because you guys really value information, I think it's really important to just start thinking about what you want, okay? That's like the best way to start and the best way to put it. So what matters to you most? What is of a concern? What affects you directly, okay? There's a lot in the world that's happening, you know, and we do need to be there for humanity when it's necessary. But at the same time, what is going on in your personal life? What's going on inside your home? What's going on inside your neighborhood? That should be your focus, okay? Especially for the next 6 months, according to this energy and this, whatever's coming up in this reading, okay? So it's not going to be like the only dominating factor in your life, but it is something that you're going to have to deal with. The Page of Cups is a great sign for you to really tap in and tune in, because this card is all about looking within and looking into your own heart even, and asking yourself what matters to you, what is important to you, what do you feel like, how are things making you feel? And air signs aren't very touchy-feely, they're more about information and conversation, okay? As long as they have those two things, they're fine. They're not highly emotional for the most part. Air sign on its own, right? And the Page of Cups is very highly emotional. With all that said, I think it's important to really just tune in with your emotions at this time, okay? Especially when it comes to communicating things, learning new things, and understanding the world. It's important to look at it from your emotions, okay? But also don't get caught up in it, okay? Because the Hangman in reverse, it's a concern because because the hangman can be a concern in general, because it's basically just someone seeing things either a fanatical way or just like in a fantasy world kind of way. And that's fine sometimes, right? Like there's nothing wrong with the way we perceive the world in general, in part. But you know, at the same time, we need to be realistic. You know, we need to get with the program. We need to, you know, we just need to ask questions. And so that's basically what I'm getting overall. Like, it's time for you to start asking really hard questions here about yourself, about other people, about what you're doing, about anything, you know, if it's career, if it's education, if you're starting a business, whatever it is, it's important to dig within and dig deep within, because of Pluto's influence. I feel like that's the only reason why I'm saying it. And Pluto in the 9th house, you want to question your beliefs at this time and see if do they align with you? Do you agree with them? And if you do, what can you do to continue with that and to perfect it? And if they don't, what can you do to find something that does agree with you? Okay, that seems to be what is going to be going on for you guys. I'm not really getting anything else. I do feel for the collective, this full moon's really, or this new moon's really important. There's something that's going to happen that is quite upsetting, but it's going to give us new opportunities. And I do feel like it is going to build up to something much greater, much stronger, something that serves us individually. And I think that's really important at this time, is that we start looking for not complete independence from other people, because I do feel it's important that we come together. There is enough divide going on, but we need to come back to ourselves, because that's where we find our humanity. From there, that's when we can do what's right for the world. And so I'm going to do something different. I'm not going to read the oracle card, but I will put it up on the screen along with a photo of the booklet. So you may want to pause the video or take a screenshot. And I thank you so much for watching, Gemini, and I wish you all the best. Cancer, rising, moon, or sun sign. With Cancer on the ascendant, this new moon will be placed in your 2nd house of resources, material possessions, your wants, needs, desires, and your sense of security. So for you guys, we got Death card as well as the Queen of Pentacles. Okay, so with the Death card, I immediately felt that there's something coming to a finalization. And this could be an agreement. This could even be something owed to you. So maybe there's like a lawsuit that you won and you will be receiving the money from that lawsuit very soon. Whatever it may be, it does have to deal with your finances and your resources. It could even just be like a finalization on a payment or something, anything that has to deal with finances and resources. So with that said, the Queen of Pentacles is telling me that you are going to be in a very stable place overall when it does come to 2nd house matters. This could even be a period where you are basically just saving more or conserving more. That could even just be your energy. You could just be more sedentary. You could be a little more relaxed at this time, or over the next 6 months as well. Either way, you do seem to just be more focused on improving yourself, improving your looks as well, is what I'm getting. So that could even just be your health. So you're overall, you're more focused on your well-being. And with the new moon opposing Pluto in Aquarius, I feel could bring up some kind of radical transformation. One thing I have been noticing in these readings so far with all the other signs I've done before you is that there's the common theme seems to be that an event or situation would take place that it will be like a Tower card moment basically, and you're meant to experience this, whatever it may be, so you can gain not only just the experience but the wisdom of it. And so yes, it's not going to be comfortable for anybody. Something very radical even can happen, something very sudden, or something that completely disrupts your life for temporarily. Okay, and then after that, it's going to allow you to evolve into basically a better version of yourself, or to rise to the occasion, or to make better choices overall, or to obtain some kind of power and authority, whatever it may be. It's going to allow you to take more control back. And I feel that's really important at this time, is that not only do we start to dissolve the divide, this imaginary divide between us and our differences and our political beliefs and whatnot, we need to really do what we want and not what other people say we want, right? And so I think it's important, you know, they say, like, how can you change the world? It's like, well, change yourself, right? Change who you are in the world and what you do and what you leave behind and how you treat others. That's really important at this time. So for you guys, it does have to deal with second house matters. I did mention looks, so it can be your body, it can be appearances, it could be mental health, spiritual health, emotional health, whatever it may be. Okay. And I think there's something here, something you can end as well. There could be a bad habit, something that's just kind of been in the background, you know. It's like something that you do, you know, what do they say? There's like a term for it, you know, when we do something repetitively and it's just like we don't realize we're doing it, like we just start doing it, right? So whatever that word is, I'm sorry, I can't think of it right now. But, you know, there could be something like that to where you take notice of it and it's like, oh, work on preventing yourself from doing that, okay? And so it's a good time to look at your bad habits, improve on your good habits. It is a good time to clean the room as well, because second house is your bedroom. And so clean your personal space, okay? Clear it, rearrange the furniture if you need to, you know, just do something to improve your living conditions, whatever that may be, however that may look. So with the Death card, for you guys, there is an ending to something, and I think it's for good. I did mention how everyone's going to have a tower moment. For you guys, there's something that's just coming, it's just going to come to a complete end. If it hasn't yet already, it will. And you know, but I do see you in the position of the Queen of Pentacles though, so I do feel that you are secure no matter what happens. I feel like there's a lot for you, there's a lot that stands behind you, okay? Not only can you rely on it, but it's like you have a firm foundation to stand upon. So I feel like for the next 6 months, it's all about cultivating new ideas, cultivating new way of living, and, you know, finding new ways to improve your financial situation. So learning how to save your money in a new way, budgeting your money, maybe even like switching banks or something, or even investing into something, just things that will improve your finances, but also improve your way of living. So that includes yourself and your bodies. Now I'm going to put up a photo of your oracle card along with what the booklet says, and so you may want to pause the video or take a screenshot. And with all that said, thank you so much for watching, Cancer. I appreciate you being here, and I wish you all the best. Leo rising, moon, or sun sign. With Leo on the ascendant, this new moon will be placed in your first house of identity, sense of self, your soul's direction, and your place in the world. So for you guys, we got the Fool card as well as the Sun card. And so because we are dealing with the first house, I find it really funny that your sense of direction is the Fool card. And so for you guys are going to be taken on a whole new journey. I mean, this new moon is opposing Pluto in Aquarius, okay? And that's in your 7th house. And so your relationships could be changing dramatically over the next 18 or so years. But for the most part with this new moon, you are going to be experiencing something that's going to take you to a higher level. And it's quite interesting because for everyone, the theme for this new moon has been really heavy. And then I come to you guys and it's like, you guys are just like, what? Like, what are you guys talking about? Like, what do you mean there's chaos in the world, right? Like, you guys are just reached a place where, like, you're on the mountaintop. And I'm not gonna lie, I think we're all pretty jealous of you for that. But at the same time, it's like, when are you not at the mountaintop? Okay, you guys are the sign of the sun. You guys are the sign of the lion. Okay, the king. But with that said, though, this new moon, regardless of how you feel and where you are, this new moon is opposing Pluto. And so there is going to be a very transformative moment for you. And I did pick up for everyone that there's going to be some kind of tower moment for everybody, some kind of event or situation that takes place that radically forces you to change and evolve and grow from that. And it's an experience that we all are going to have to go through in our own ways. And so even for Leos, like, it's going to be different for every Leo, okay? And so for you guys, it is centered around the Fool card. It is centered around just being a lot more careless, being more carefree, and kind of just going with what you feel called to do. The Fool does have a calling, okay? He is being pulled to do something, and he's not sure why, but he feels it is necessary. But at the same time, as you can see, the Fool is about to step off the cliff. So he's not entirely all the way in control, okay? And so that would be a word of caution here. You could be doing something or have done something carelessly because you felt a calling, because you were just going with it, and it led you, or it will lead you to a place where you're going to have to face reality in some way. It's going to make you basically divert and change direction is what I'm getting. It's like you are about to step off the cliff, and then you realize what the fuck you're doing and where you are and what's going on, and then you realize, oh, okay, I've gone too far, or I've gone as far as I could on this journey. It's time to go in a new direction and take a new path, basically. And that path does lead you to the Sun card. And so it is either way. And I've even felt that for everybody. Like, even though there is going to be some kind of really crazy thing or somewhat disruptive thing in your life, it is going to lead to something better and more beneficial for you, that benefits you in a more positive way. So I do feel that this new moon is bringing a lot of positivity. Leo and Aquarius as sister signs, and while we are experiencing this new era and humanity with Pluto and Aquarius for the next 18 years. The last time Pluto was in Aquarius, we had the American Revolution, the French Revolution, and just the way people lived overall began to grow and evolve into something else. There's a lot of, even though it seems really crazy right now, there's still a lot of good things happening, a lot of radical transformations that are happening for the better. And so for you guys, because you are Leo, it is hard for Leos to stay in a very dark place for a long time. They tend to be optimists, and that is something all fire signs have. It's a good trait they have. It could even be bad in some cases, but for the most part, you guys remain optimistic and hopeful. You feel good about life for the most part. That's not to say that you don't go through things and you have your experiences, but your overall essence and who you are tends to be more uplifting. It's basically the Sun card, okay? It's carefree and it's uplifting. Not only that, is that people are really attracted to you and attractive to you. Like, they find you attractive, but people are drawn to the Sun, okay? And so Leos tend to have a community, tend to have support, tend to have people around them. So even when they are going through something, they tend to have the support of other people. I think for you guys, you can be receiving the help of other people, the support of other people. So I do feel like you guys are going to change your direction in life, okay, with this new moon. I mean, it's pretty powerful. And, we're dealing with the first house and the seventh house. And so you're in the Fool card. Like, it's just all there. Like, you are changing direction. I think it's going to lead you to a place to where, like, you think you're where you want to be now. Like, you think you finally, like, accomplished some things and, like, become who you wanted to be. Just wait, because there's still more to that. There's still more to your lore, all right? And so I find that really cool. Like, you guys have the most positive readings so far, and I feel really bad for the other signs now, but it's good that you guys have that, because you guys are leading the way with this new moon's archetypal energy. And because you're leading the way, you set an example for all the other signs. And I think that's why we're all going to experience something in its 1441 1 on the clock. That's why we're all going to experience something, but at the end of the day, like, we're going to come out of it better because you guys are going to just be so much better and just be on the top once more. And so now I'm going to put a photo of your oracle card on the screen along with the booklet's description, so you may want to pause the video or take a screenshot, and that will conclude your reading. So I thank you so much for watching, Leo, and I wish you all the best. Virgo rising, moon, or sun sign. With Virgo on the ascendant, this new moon will be placed in your 12th house of hidden realms, enemies, dreams, fantasies, secrets, and solitude. So for you guys, we actually have 3 cards, and the first card is the Queen of Swords. Next, we have the Queen of Pentacles, and we have the Magician. And so with the Queen of Swords, this is a time for you to engage in some kind of diplomacy. And it's quite interesting because after that, we got the Queen of Pentacles, and they're both queens are facing each other. And so what's more diplomatic than that? So you could be coming into some kind of alliance with somebody here right now or over the next 6 months. It could be an alliance with an enemy or someone who you thought was competition, somebody who maybe was seemingly or was against you. This could mean something like a divorce agreement, and then like, let's say you share custody, and so you come to an agreement on how you're going to continue parenting. And so although you guys aren't together anymore, you're able to come into a agreement that is like really good, like really positive, right? And then we have the Magician, and so that definitely speaks of this alliance that you're coming into. With the 12th house, why I'd say it could be an enemy is because the 12th house represents things that like that, people who are against you, people who are enemies. They could even be family who, it's not like they're completely against you, but there's an archetypal energy within them that like creates a divide between you two, okay? And the best example I could give is somebody who has a Pisces moon, especially if they have a Pisces moon like in the 12th or 6th house. These people tend to have a mother or a mother figure who's like really supportive of them, right? And they listen to them and they're there for them, but there's a detachment, okay? There is some kind of hidden like resentment on the mother's side, whether it's directly towards that individual or it's something, maybe they resent something within themselves and it gets projected onto that child, the Pisces moon child, okay? And so that's like an example of how, a family member could be like an enemy, right? It's not intentional, but they are essentially giving you the evil eye. With the Magician here, and with like the way the cards look, how they're facing each other, there could be some kind of karmic implications to this, especially because it is a 12th house, right? The 12th house is one of the most karmic houses, and so this could be breaking a cycle. So it could be ancestral, so it may not be actually like you're actually doing this in the material reality with another person. This could be something that you're dealing with within, something you carry, some kind of feeling or information that you carry, and you're somehow able to come into an alliance with it. It's like letting bygones be bygones, right? Or it's settling your differences, or it's coming together, because if you don't, it poses a greater threat, okay? So like it's like saving humanity, right? Like coming together to clean the oceans or something, right? Like if we don't do it, like we're all screwed, okay? Like, oh, interesting. We're all screwed, right? Jump down. It's important that you're able to settle those differences that you have, whether it's within yourself or with other people, and come into this alliance, because the Magician too, very powerful. I mean, you saw it just kind of fall on my hand. I mean, I know I kind of was moving my fingers, but when tarot cards fall, at least in my reading, like it means something. And so, I mean, you should see the way some of these cards come out, they kind of just flip out really interestingly. For the most part, the Magician speaks about tapping into your will, whether free will or whatever you want to look at it. It is your will you're doing, you know, your own magic essentially. So it doesn't have to be actual magic that you engage in, but just your magic could be, if you're an artist, that's your magic, right? If you're an accountant, your magic is dealing with numbers and things like that. You know, if you're a lawyer, your magic is in serving justice for the community. And so with all that said, that's where you're probably going to find this new union, this new, like, whatever this is, and that's where you want to pit this energy into. And that's, so if it is art, then engage in that, right? At the same time, there is a word of caution because it is the 12th house, so it's not entirely all there. Both of you guys have your own agendas and your own reasoning for doing this, and so you want to be careful because you don't know what their hidden motives are. And you know your hidden motives, and you also need to be careful with that. Like, you're gonna be manipulative about this. Like, if this is going to hurt someone else or the other person, then, you know, don't expect anything good to come back to you, okay? Especially with the Magician, okay? But if you're got your hidden motives, but it is more for benefit and it doesn't really hurt anybody, then that's good, right? And you want to stay with that. You don't want to switch up, basically. So with that said, though, the other party could, and you don't know whether or not you could trust them, okay? But it's like you have to right now, okay? Or you really have to go off your word. And you want to take caution right now if this is happening right now, because Mercury's in retrograde and then Saturn's in retrograde until November of this year. And so there's a lot of things there's a lot of contracts, basically, whatever that's literal or metaphorical. There's a lot of contracts that could occur that end up falling apart later. So it's really tricky, okay? This energy is really tricky, and this new moon is opposing Pluto, so it's even trickier because Pluto can be deceptive, but it could also reveal deception, okay? So I would say in the long run, you're gonna find out the truth no matter what it is. But there is something here where it's like you're going to be kept in the dark for some time, and you are going to be deceived, or you could be deceiving in some way. Later on, that deception is going to come to light, okay? That's how I feel in this reading. And I feel across all the signs that there is some kind of tower moment that occurs. This tower moment leads you to something greater and something better, okay? And I just did the Leo reading, and they had the best reading so far. It's so crazy. But I love that because they set the tone, they set the stage for what's to come. And so if you want to know what's to come, then maybe watch the Leo portion, because there's really nothing to emphasize more than what I said in that video. I got the Fool and the Sun card, and so they're off on a whole new journey and all that stuff. So yeah, I'll leave that for you to watch later if you want to watch. But for the most part, it is going to lead to something so much better regardless. But if you are deceptive, then you will get your karma, but it'll still lead to something good. But you know, when it comes to Leo, you want to be mindful of your presence and how people perceive you, because Leo is all about presence. It is all about self-expression, and it is all about like a social identity. It's kind of like the king or the celebrity or the movie star. Like, what are movie stars known for, right? Like, we all see certain movie stars in a certain light depending on the propaganda or, you know, just what they did in their life. And so what do you want to be known for in whatever it is that you're dealing with, right? I think that's important to take note, because that's what's going to be how it ends up for you, basically, okay? It's going to manifest for sure, because we're dealing with the Magician as well. Now I'm going to put up a photo of your oracle card along with what the booklet says, and so you may want to pause the video or take a screenshot. So that concludes your reading, Virgo, and I thank you so much for watching, and I wish you all the best. Libra, rising, moon, or sun sign. With a Libra on the ascendant, this new moon will be placed in your 11th house of networks, community involvement, your social circle, creative projects, aspirations, and gains. So for you guys, we have the 9 of Cups as well as the 4 of Wands. So I feel like you're going to be expanding upon your network or your social circle in some way over the next 6 months, okay? And it has a lot to do with what you connect to very deeply and on an emotional level, because we are dealing with the 9 of Cups here. And so you could also be coming out of your shell, or just not being afraid to really express how you feel and show up in the world in the way that you feel, so not holding back. And so that has a lot to do with being authentic as well, and just being more authentic publicly, okay? This could be anywhere. This could be online communities, or this could be within your area, whether it's locally or if you travel, then you can expand by means of travel. And so however you spend most of your time connecting with people, okay? But you could also be switching. So maybe you were more online, and then now something comes up in your life and you start to be more hands-on, offline, I guess you could say. And so all of this is leading to you building a community, okay? And so you may have already experienced new growth in this area. You may have recently come into contact with a new community, or a new group of people, or a new lifestyle or tradition, or something that somehow plays a role in your life, okay? And so now you want to build upon that and expand upon it, okay? This is going to allow you to not only expand your community, but expand your business if you have a business, or expand upon your career or your education if you're a student, whatever it is that you are focused on or would like to maybe even be known for, so your vocation, what you want to communicate to the world, because this is the 11th house, and so what you want to really put out there for other people. This is where you're going to see a whole lot of expansion. And with the 4 of Wands, it's you basically building a new foundation, or it's a foundation that you can rely upon, okay? This is the perfect home, okay? With the 4 of Wands, it also speaks of celebrations, and so maybe there's going to be a lot of weddings coming up over the next few months, and so you'll be attending a lot of weddings, and that also expands upon your network, okay? When you go to weddings, not only are friends there, but families there, and so maybe you could meet your best friend's family for the first time or something, something like that. And so, or maybe even your family is expanding, so maybe there's birth in the family, new relatives in the family, or you yourself want to expand and have children, or whatever it may be. Either way, this looks really good. I'm just getting overall expansion. Now, with the new moon opposing Pluto, there's going to be something deeply transformative that takes place. So for all the signs, there seems to be some kind of tower moment, or some kind of interruption that goes on. If you haven't experienced yet already, then you likely will in the near future. Something that you have to experience, because there's something for you to gain from that experience, from that wisdom, because if you didn't go through it, you wouldn't know exactly what it is you need to do, okay? And so with that said, this is going to open you up to allow you to grow and evolve and become more of who you are, okay? Because it's kind of what we're here for is to evolve, okay? Sometimes there are moments when we don't need to evolve and we can take a step back and chill out. But this new moon, I feel for everyone, because especially because it's opposing Pluto, it's time for us to evolve. It's time for us to take it to the next level. And it's really about self-improvement. So whatever it is that you need to self-improve upon in the house, wherever Leo is in your birth chart, is where you want to direct that energy towards, okay? And you can get the most out of what the cards are saying, what is out there, what the universe has to offer. So for you guys, I feel like you do need to reach out more. You need to reach out more. You need to put yourself out there a little bit more. If you burn out, or just avoid burnout, but if you do feel worn out, take a break, right? Because you may see an increase in your network, like your social circle could expand wherever that may be. I mean, I'm a Libra rising and I am seeing this playing out 100%. Like my social circle is expanding right now, and it's going in two different directions. There's a whole side that is completely unrelated to this other side that's also expanding. New and different for me because I am a hermit. I am in my house for the most part, and I do keep to myself generally. That's just like the life I live, and I choose to live this life. And but it seems to be evolving to where I'm a little bit more out there. I mean, I'm doing these videos. You know, I would have never done this like 5 years ago. So, and now I'm doing them pretty regularly. But yeah, so it's really just about putting yourself out there. And the way I'm putting myself out there is through tarot, right? So that's my outlet. And so you want to recognize your outlet. Whether it's a new outlet or it's something you've been working on, okay? Whatever you feel called to go to. Now, a word of caution though, Mercury is retrograde right now as we speak, and Saturn's retrograde until November. And so this is a good time to set up for the future, okay? I mean, you could find culmination points and things coming to the forefront, but it is a good time to really just work and get to know people, get familiar with the new environment that you're entering into instead of just jumping ahead. I mean, unless you have a chart that supports that, you know, if you have the energy to support to just jump right into it, go ahead. But for the most part, this is a good time for you to really just learn first and foremost. And from there, you're able to really take it further. So if you are dealing with expansions in different areas, as you learn over the next few months, maybe you could come to a point where, okay, I've expanded in all these areas, but this is the one area that I think I need to solely focus on, or these are the two areas I need to focus on, or there's something else over here, something entirely new I need to focus on. So it depends on who you are, however that's going to look for you. You'll know by the time of the Leo full moon in February, okay? So for the most part, that's basically what I got for you guys. Remember, it comes from the inside. It comes from your heart. We're dealing with cups energy. We're dealing with what you have to offer other people. So there's a humanitarian aspect to this as well. Like, what can you give to other people that will benefit them? And it's 15:15 on the clock. And so I think that's basically what I got for you guys. And so now I'm going to put up your oracle card on the screen, a photo of the card along with a photo of what the booklet says. And so you may want to pause the video or go ahead and take a screenshot, and that will conclude your reading. Thank you so much for watching, Libra, and I wish you all the best. Scorpio rising, moon, or sun sign. With Scorpio on the ascendant, this new moon will be placed in your 10th house of vocation, careers, public image, legacy, long-term plans, and your overall impact on the world. So for you guys, we got the 9 of Swords as well as the 10 of Pentacles. I feel like for all the signs with this Leo new moon, as it opposes Pluto in Aquarius, that we are all going to experience some kind of tower moment, some kind of disruption, okay, some kind of upset in our life. And it's going to allow us to have an experience that we need to grow upon, okay? Because Pluto's here to transform us and to wake us up to something that has been hidden, whether we chose to ignore it or whether it was kept hidden from us, okay? And so for you guys, I feel like you've already had that experience, or you could pretty soon. I mean, I'm recording this before the Leo new moon, so it could be triggered around the new moon when it happens. This is going to lead to something better, and if you need some hope in your life, then watch the Leo portion of this video. So far, they had the best reading, and I love that though, because they set the tone for the next 6 months when it comes to that Leo new moon energy and how it's affecting you. And so they set the stage, and they are the archetype of what it really represents. And and it's really meant to put you in a whole new direction and to really change course into something that is more beneficial to you. So for some, they could be separating from family, from friends, from social circles. For others, they could be building social circles. They could be expanding their family, okay? So it really depends, okay? So you want to watch other videos too for your other placements. But if you don't know them, then that's fine. This video should still be enough for you. You can even just pick a random sign that you think is interesting to you and watch that, okay? Because all the signs affect us. Whether or not you know your chart, all 12 signs affect us in some way. So that's why no two signs are the same, okay? For your phase for the next 6 months, I think it's really about overcoming mental challenges that you may be experiencing, maybe you've experienced when you were a child, certain worries and anxieties that you may have that really just hold you back, that stifle your growth, that prevent you from really achieving what it is you need to achieve. So there could even be a lot of procrastination as a result. There could be a lot of fear. I think what's important is that you're going to become more self-aware of what these things are if you haven't yet already. And that is the opportunity for you to grow upon it and to improve upon it, because we do have the 10 of Pentacles, and that has a lot to do with just support from the material world itself. Support, it's not so much like the universe and what's out there, it's what's right here, right now. And so you're being led to a place that's going to support your position in the world. And we are dealing with the 10th house. And so maybe there's a career loss. Maybe you lost your job recently and it's completely devastated you. You know, you've put your all into it. You know, you had the job security when you had it. And now, it's like the rug was taken out from under you. And it's like, what do I do now, right? Like you've almost lost hope. And so I think a lot of that lost hope is the mental challenges. Maybe you just... Again, like maybe you just put so much into it and you've dedicated so much and it's like, it's so unfair, right? Or whatever it is, you gotta be able to let go from that. But look at it as in the bright light, it got you to this moment, right? And, another saying is, when you're at rock bottom, the only way is up, right? Like you're at the you're on the ground, at least you're on the ground, right? And so that's my way of looking at it, is look at it as a whole new chapter, a whole new clean slate. Like it's like moving to a new city and becoming a new person or something, right? Like it's starting over. So even if it may not seem like that, like you have to move or whatever, look at it as like that. Like this is an opportunity for you to start completely over and to really do what you want to do. Now, whether it's starting over and doing something brand new or it's starting over and doing the same thing but in a different way, you want to focus on careers, you want to focus on vacation, but also you want to focus on what is like your own self-reliance, like what you have to offer. So it could be building upon your skills, your creativity, talents, whatever it is that you are really good at. This would be a good time to invest into that and to focus on that. With the 10 of Pentacles, you could also receive a lot of support from family. There could even be a lot of ancestral support, or there could be a lot of a here and now support. So let's say, you lose your job and you could continue living where you want to live, but it's only going to drain your bank account. And so the right thing to do is to move back in with your parents or with a family member and pay like not even half of what, like less than half of what you're paying for rent, right? Yeah, it might look bad, you're moving back into your parents, but really you're doing it for the long term, because by doing this, not only are you able to save a lot of money, but you'll have a certain support and security that you wouldn't get if you were to just continue on your own, okay? And so look at it like that, is that it's going to propel you. And so it's very temporary. It could be a month, maybe it could be whatever, however long it's going to take for you to get back on the horse, essentially, is what I see happening for you guys, okay? And so that's the positive side to this tower moment that you're going to experience, that we're all going to experience in some way if we haven't yet already. I feel like I've already experienced it, okay? And now I know what to do moving forward and how to approach and how to change my thinking and be more in control of my feelings. And so there's going to be some things lingering, some old habits or old worries lingering, but I think you're able to like push that to the side. Like, no, I'm good. Like, no. Like, don't start your shit, all right? And so you're gonna have more control of yourself, okay? And again, like, you have a lot of support, okay? There's a lot of support waiting as well, promise. So it could be karmic, okay? So you could even receive an inheritance for some of you. For others, it's just support from family, like moving in with a family member, so you could save money. And you know, maybe it's easier to take a risk by doing that, okay? Maybe you have this business plan and you feel like if you had a firm foundation to fall back on, you're more likely to take a risk and like really go after something and find success in doing that. And so yeah, that's really cool. So for you guys, there's a lot of success, and I think it has a lot to do with business, or just taking steps that could further your business, okay? So it could be something else outside of business, but either way, it's benefiting your long-term standing in the world, I guess you could say. So now I'm going to put up your oracle card on screen along with the booklet's description. So you may want to pause the video or take a screenshot. Either way, this concludes your reading. And so thank you so much for watching, Scorpio, and I wish you all the best. Sagittarius, rising, moon, or sun sign. With Sagittarius on the ascendant, this new moon will be placed in your 9th house of higher learning, philosophy, religion, long distance travel, publications, luck and fortune, and moral values. So for you guys, we got the 3 of Swords as well as the Devil. So I know that sounds and looks crazy, but just bear with me. So for the most part, for all signs, and what this new moon is going to bring, this new moon is opposing Pluto directly. They're both at 2 degrees. The new moon, well, the moon and the sun, as well as Pluto, and they're opposing each other. And so there's going to be some kind of disruption. If it hasn't happened yet already, it will, and it could within the next 6 months. It's going to cause a disruption that all of us are going to feel. And with the other astrology that's going on, and with everything that's going on around this summer, I think it's quite evident that there's a lot of disruptions happening. Okay, and I know it can be overwhelming. It could look really scary. I mean, I'm definitely very concerned about what's going on. But this new moon has definitely given me not just hope, but reassurance, because I could see now, maybe not why things are happening, but what we could do as a result, and what that means, and how it benefits us personally, okay? And so for you guys, that disruption in your life is going to bring you to a higher place, into a better place. And you had to have gone through this, or will go through this, to gain some kind of experience, to gain the wisdom that you need from that experience, so that way you can build something better upon it. And you, not only that, but now you can recognize it, okay? So unless you've gone through something, it's not easy to recognize that. Unless you've gone through some kind of trauma, it's not easy to recognize certain things, like certain dangers, okay? And so unfortunately, you know, these are things that we go through in life, okay? With that said, you guys have the 3 of Swords, and so yes, there could be heartbreak when it comes to relationships, whether it's romantic or partnerships, platonic, business, family, whatever it may be. There's some kind of heartbreak, there's some kind of disruption with relationships. It could even be your own self-identity, okay? And we are dealing with the 9th house, and so this could be your own beliefs, okay? Maybe you were tricked, and it's interesting because I got the same for like Gemini. Like, maybe you were tricked into thinking or believing something, or you were led to believe something that isn't true, okay? You were promised something and it didn't turn out that way, okay? And so now it's like, what are you gonna do about it, right? But basically, this thing, I feel, has really caught you by surprise, okay? And I think it's kind of hard to surprise a Sagittarius. I mean, they're pretty spontaneous, and so I mean, Sagittarius is the surprise, but this definitely caught you off guard. It definitely didn't, like, you may have known this was coming, or you maybe have picked up like something wasn't good, like this person was bad, you shouldn't do business with them, but it's just like because of the situation and the circumstances and how you know each other, like you went ahead with it already anyways, and then now it's just like, why did I do that? Or it's just like, I should have known better, or I knew this was coming. Okay, so part of me feels like you guys, like, you're hurt, you're heartbroken, but you're also like not surprised, or it's like I only have myself to blame. But I don't think that is the case. Like, I don't think you should look at it like that. I think it was necessary because you need to learn from it. Now with the Devil card, this has a lot to do with you breaking away from things that have kept you trapped for a really long time. And it can be beliefs, it could be something else, like the job you work at, a contract you had to fulfill, just whatever it is in your life, okay, that was like really important, or like kind of had some kind of hold of your life. The Devil card is here to kind of just like, you can't run from it anymore. You can no longer hide it anymore. Or it's kind of like reminding you, if you keep playing these games, don't expect anything more. Okay, like don't just keep, if you're gonna keep playing these games, then keep expecting these outcomes and this experience. But the Devil card is meant to remind you that you aren't as trapped as you may think you are, okay? And it's an opportunity for you to see your own faults and your own bad habits, whether they were intentional, whether you were unconscious to them, okay? I think it is surrounded by your belief system, okay? It could even be the way you communicate, okay? So maybe you hold beliefs of one thing, or hold ideas or concepts of one thing, but you do the opposite. You act in opposition to that, and now you can no longer do that with this new moon. It's not only are you going to get called out for it, but it's like, it's counterintuitive. Like it's canceling each other out. Like, so you're not really doing anything. It's not productive, that's for sure. That's basically what I'm getting for the next 6 months. You're given opportunities to just be more truthful and honest about what you believe and what you think, and whether that means you have to speak up more, whether that means you need to fight for something that you believe in. Whatever it is, I think that's important. Now when it comes to the heartbreak, yeah, like there could be a relationship here. I don't know why I feel called to go in that direction, but I think there's something that if that's the case, if you are experiencing like a romantic connection, there's a disruption or a heartbreak or a disagreement or something, whatever, maybe you had your first argument, I feel like they're also learning something about themselves in this, okay? And that there's the silence between you two is absolutely necessary, because it's like, they say, if you love something, let it go, right? And it comes back, it's yours, whatever. But it's just like, either way, you could still appreciate people from at a distance. You could also, especially if you were involved, it doesn't have to be romantic, but if you're like really involved with this person and they were like took up so much of your life, it's important that you take a step back and like be with yourself more, and do things without their approval or without them knowing either. So don't be deceptive, but it's just like, you don't need their permission, right? Okay, and so on one aspect, there was something in that connection that was like really toxic, okay? And this disruption is giving you guys the opportunity to overcome that, to fix it. And then for some, you may come back together, and then others, it might be a complete ending, okay? Especially if the other party isn't going to cooperate or change or evolve, okay? Because there's that side too. So it's going to depend on who's watching, okay, how that's going to evolve for you guys. But overall, I feel confident that you're going to be able to step more into your power through what you truly believe. And when you're able to freely express that without fear or judgment or being ostracized or anything, it gives you way more power than you could imagine, okay? And I could say that from experience. So that's what I got for you guys. So now I'm going to put a photo of the oracle card on the screen along with the booklet's description, so you may want to pause the video or take a screenshot, and that will conclude your reading. So thank you so much for watching, Sagittarius, and I wish you all the best. Capricorn rising, moon, or sun sign. With Capricorn on the ascendant, this new moon will be placed in your 8th house of rebirth, transformation, inheritance, marriage, the hidden mysteries, and personal or soul development. So for you guys, we have the moon as well as the world. And so I will say that this new moon is pretty powerful for all of us. I feel like for all of us, we're going to have some kind of tower moment, some kind of disruption in our life that completely throws us off, that completely strips us of ourselves, leaves us vulnerable, whatever it may be, however it may look, whether you've experienced it already or you're about to. And it's going to put us through an experience to where we can take a lot of wisdom and growth from it and realize what the root of the issue really is, okay? It's going to lead us to something greater. And so at any time over the next 6 months, come back to this video and watch the Leo portion to get some hope, because they had the best reading so far. They set the tone for what's really to come. And so for all of us, we are going to have to embark on a new journey. And I think it's going to completely shift us into a new direction. Now, it doesn't mean that you're going off your path or anything, or, you know, you still can't continue what you're doing, but it just means that humanity is shifting into a new direction. And I say that strongly because the new moon is opposing Pluto, and so we're being forced to see something that either isn't there or is there, we're refusing to acknowledge it, or for whatever reason we just can't see it. It's being brought to light now, and there's no hiding it. I mean, the sun is shining light onto Pluto, okay? And the moon is there, and the moon really deals with our subconscious mind and how we perceive things. For you guys, you know, we have the moon card, and so I feel like the rose-colored glasses are coming off finally. I feel like you were deceived in some way, and I got that for Gemini. I also got that for Scorpio. I believe it was Scorpio, where there's some kind of deception. You're really led to believe something that isn't entirely true, whether it was your own self-doing or it was something out in the world. And it can be anything. With like Gemini, I got like propaganda. With Scorpio, I forget what it really was about, but either way, the moon card is telling me that you went through, it could even just be a period of denial. I feel like Capricorns over the last few months have been in a state of denial about something. And they're in denial, but it's just like they're not seeing that they are. There's something else that they're doing that causes the unconscious denial. And so the new moon is saying that, or the moon card is saying, and this new moon is saying, you can't ignore that anymore. I mean, your 8th house is being lit up right now, and so it's shining light on things that are hidden, okay, things beyond the psyche and the subconscious as well. And so things are being brought to light. This new moon is allowing you to see into the motives of other people, okay? See into partnerships that you're dealing with, whether it is your relationship to other people directly or your relationship to an event or social cause or a job or a school or an institution, whatever it is, some kind of truth is going to come to light about that scenario, okay? So there could be like deception truth, like someone's deceiving you, or you could just learn the truth behind what's really happening, okay? And so it doesn't have to be like a negative thing, like they're doing something horrible. It could just be like, oh, I just didn't know that about them, or even about yourself, okay? This could just be something you're realizing. With that said, it allows you to connect with them better, or with yourself better. It allows you to understand something a little bit more. It's kind of like, you know, if you travel a lot, especially around the world, you become more acclimated to different cultures, and, you know, you start to have a broader idea of humanity and what it means to be a human and how humans live. Especially if you live in the Western world like I do in America, we're pretty much cut off from the world and the way it's being projected onto us, you know, like the media, the way they talk about certain places could be negative or positive, and it's a very narrow scope of what's actually happening. And so I like to watch videos on YouTube, like walk videos or just whatever kind of video, like a travel video in other countries where you see firsthand what it really is like, and then it's like, oh, like it's nothing like what I've been told, right? And so that's the deception, right? You've been told something that isn't entirely true, or it's only one aspect of it. And so I think this new moon is inviting you to just broaden your horizon about the way other people are. And it has to do a lot with psychology, okay? Because the 8th house does deal with psychology. And so you can understand the underlining workings of an individual, like why they do something. It's because of this, okay? It's because of this experience they had, or it's because they have this going on in their life, okay? With all that said, the World card is quite interesting here, because it's telling me that you are finalizing something here. Some kind of karmic cycle is coming to an end, or potentially can come to an end. And I feel like this deceptive cycle, whatever it may be, however it may show up in your life, is something that's probably gone on your whole life in its own different ways and aspects. And now you're given an opportunity to like break the cycle. And that's the thing, you're given the opportunity. It doesn't mean you're going to, okay, but you have the opportunity to. And you want to watch for your other signs, because they could also give you clues into other areas and aspects of your life to how this could be and how it could help you break whatever it is you need to break. Not only is there some kind of ending, but I feel like it's not ending right now. I still feel like you have some ways to go. So I feel like the World card is like what it's really all about. So I don't think you've arrived at the World card yet. And you might not even arrive until like after the full moon in Leo, which is in February 1st. So it might be like after the full moon, where you're either you're able to see it, or it actually manifests to that completion. So this is quite a long journey. There's a lot of like cleaning out your closet. There's a lot to clean up, whether it's your mess or the mess of others. But overall, I think the goal is really to understand, is what I'm getting. That understanding brings you to a greater sense of wisdom and knowledge about, like I said, the way people are, but just the way things work, okay? So the World for me is also like this is just how things work. It's very symbolic of so many things. You know, there's a system here, there's a structure here, there's a pattern to doing things, okay? There's a way to live, right? But there's many different ways to live as well. I think it's important to get some kind of exposure right now, okay? I think that could be your greatest influence, is your exposure to the way other people are and how they live. And you could also find inspiration you can take from that and improve upon yourself by taking certain inspirations from like other cultures or other people, whatever it may be. All right, so that's basically what I got for you guys. So now I'm going to pull an oracle card and put a photo of the oracle card on the screen along with the picture of the booklet. So you may want to pause the video or take a screenshot. And with all that said, though, that concludes your reading. And thank you so much for being here, Capricorn, and sharing your time with me. And I wish you all the best. Aquarius rising moon or sun sign. With Aquarius on the ascendant, this new moon will be placed in your 7th house of connection to others, integration, union, partnerships, diplomacy, and contracts. So for you guys, we got the King of Cups as well as the 5 of Pentacles. First and foremost, I want to apologize because the last new moon reading I did for you guys was pretty weak. It was really short. I didn't really expand upon it. But I felt like I felt called to really cut it short. I felt like maybe it was meant to be continued, okay, and carry over into this reading, this new moon. And so I do apologize for not giving my best performance, I guess, not giving you the best reading. So for that being said, maybe you're having, and it's 15:51 on the clock, so maybe you are having a new moon in the same house again. This is dealing with the 7th house, and so maybe you have like an intercepted sign in the 7th house, or maybe, you know, it's so big and it's occupying so much space that you're having 2 new moons back to back in the same house. Either way, if that's not the case, either way, there could be a continuation from the last reading. And the last reading, I remember, it had a lot to do with coming together and helping and giving your service to somebody or something. Okay, now with the King of Cups, I don't know why, but I got this kind of like Venusian vibe. Okay, so you're stepping into like your like an era, whatever you want to call your era, you're stepping into it. It could have a lot to do with your appearance and how you look, so you could be changing your looks, or something that you change about yourself just resonates within your look. So even if you're not like getting a haircut or anything, there's something you could be doing that's different that affects your aura, let's just say, and so it affects your presence, and people are going to see you differently as a result. So with this new moon, it's opposing Pluto, and so that's going to bring in some radical transformation here. And maybe you want to watch the Leo video because it is your sister sign, and Leo had the best reading so far, and they're setting the tone for what's happening. And so for everyone, I picked up on how we're all going to have some kind of Tower card moment, whether we did already or we're about to, and it's going to put us through an experience that's absolutely necessary for us to go through, because it is giving us an opportunity to see something that is stifling our growth in some way, however that may be. And so if you want to get the most out of these readings, then I suggest you watch your other signs to see me further expand on what that may be for you. And it doesn't have to be your top 3. You can just watch any sign. Like if you just see Scorpio and like, I don't know, you feel like clicking on it, like click on it and listen to it, okay? Just go with whatever feels right. With that said, the King of Cups, I think you could be dealing with a father figure, or maybe there's some kind of restriction there when it comes to your connection to your father. Maybe you just don't have a connection, whatever it may be. Maybe he's no longer here with us, or maybe he's busy working, or he's overseas right now, or like whatever it may be. There's an inability to have a connection with him at this time, or just overall in your life. That seems to be a common theme for Aquarius, is unfortunately they tend to have an estranged relationship with their father. Not always. It's either that, or I've seen it a lot where the fathers will pass on at some point, whether you're young or as an adult. Either way, they're just not here anymore. So it's an unfortunate thing that I do see with Aquarius. Same thing with Scorpio. Scorpio kind of has the same connections. Yeah, our sun signs represent our fathers anyways, and I think you have a desire to connect to that. So I think it would be a good idea to connect to any kind of father figure in your life if you don't have a father at this time, or tap into your own inner authority, your own inner nurture and comfort that's masculine in nature, okay, that represents the father, the image of the father, okay? And we're dealing with the 7th house, so this is dealing with your relationships. And so over the course of the next 6 months leading to the Leo full moon in February 2026, there's this desire or this need to have some kind of father figure in your life right now, and whatever that represents, or whatever he represented in your life. If you had an estranged relationship, like you didn't get along, then maybe it's a need to have that connection where you did get along, okay? So there could be some kind of therapy happening here. So maybe you are seeking therapy, or maybe you do some kind of therapy practice. There is like a practice you can do, and I'm not a therapist or anything like that, so this advice I'm giving is just something I've seen. It's not real medical advice, but there is a way to heal certain traumas and certain memories by kind of like reinstating the memory, kind of alchemizing the memory. So say you get in a car crash and everyone's passed out except for you guys are upside down, and you just see cars passing by, no one's stopping, and you're a child, right? And you don't really have too much of a perception of awareness, right? And so you don't understand why the cars are stopping, and so that gives you a panic response, or it gives you a traumatic response that, oh, when I'm in danger, no one's gonna help. Instead of believing that, you could reframe it, is what it is. You can reframe that memory and tell yourself, no, that's not what, no one's ignoring me. It's just, no one's pulling over for a reason, right? Like you can even make up something, like maybe they do pull over. You can make up an imaginary scenario where they pull over and they help you and everything's fine. This is a therapy lesson. Again, I'm not a therapist, and whatever, like I can't give real medical advice, but it's just something you can do, right? It's something to where basically you could just look at it from a different perspective, right? Like maybe you held a belief about somebody or something, especially when it comes to relationships that maybe isn't true. It's something you've just been telling yourself this whole time. And it could just come from a relationship or a lack of relationship with a father figure in your life, okay? Especially an emotionally available father figure. So the King of Cups deals with emotional availability. Now with the Five of Pentacles, this can show a lack or a desire or a need for something that is right there within your grasp, but you don't know how to grasp it. You either are in a state of victimhood, or maybe there's a self-esteem issue, like maybe you don't believe it's possible or safe to do that. Again, this goes back to what we're saying, like reframing the situation, retelling the story in a different way from a different perspective, okay? And realizing that there is help out there, that you do have support, that it is possible, that and it doesn't necessarily have to be help. Like maybe you're trying to achieve something, you don't believe in yourself, or you don't believe it's possible, or you don't know how it's going to happen. The Five of Pentacles is saying you can, okay? You can get help. You can achieve this. You can do this. You got to get over that mindset of the can't or the lack, whatever it is. And if you are someone who regularly self-improves, okay, it's another thing I've noticed with Aquarius, they like to self-improve. Even if you are familiar with that and you do take the steps to do that, then you know that there is a lot to work on. And sometimes there's a problem when we don't see it, right? Because there's so much that we do that's unconscious to us, right? We're only human, right? And we only use so much of our brain. You want to build upon this energy of trying to see, maybe even trying to see something from someone else's perspective, okay? Or maybe just challenging the way you see other people, the way you see relationships especially, okay? That seems to be the theme here. And at the bottom of the deck is the Knight of Swords. And so you're about to set off into a direction that helps you better perceive things, but also understand things. And so this has a lot to do with your consciousness and the higher mind. You are in it's interesting because Capricorn, I got something with the psychological mind. For you guys, it's like the higher mind. This new moon is going to wake you up to seeing things from an even higher level than you already do. It has a lot to do with your experiences with the father figure, with other people in relationship, but also how maybe you parent yourself or how you discipline yourself, okay? And I think because it's Leo, I think a lot of it has to do with pride or an image, okay? And so I think you're able to break away from that. You can break away from the image of what's holding you back, okay? Of what you think it should be, okay, instead of what it really is, okay? So yeah, that's basically what I got for you guys. So now I'm going to put up on the screen your oracle card along with the book's description, so you may want to pause the video or take a screenshot of that. And with all that said, that will conclude your reading. So I thank you so much for watching, Aquarius. I look forward to your growth. I'm sorry your last video was so short, but I could see now why. It's a continuation into this one, and so there was a lesson that you learned from the last new moon, and now I feel like you guys are gonna have a head start on a lot of things for the next 6 months when it comes to relationships and just healing that. Okay, there's some healing here going on, and I think you'll reach some emotional maturity as well. So thank you so much for watching, Aquarius, and I wish you all the best. Pisces rising moon or sun sign. With Pisces on the ascendant, this new moon will be placed in your 6th house of daily routine, health and habits, work ethics, services, performance, and skills. So for you guys, we got the High Priestess as well as the Four of Wands. And so for you guys, you may be retreating a little bit inwards at this time. You may be wanting to pull back from the world stage for the next few months. You really want to just take a step back overall, however that may look, and whatever you are taking a step back from, okay, will be dependent on, each and every one of you. This is your 6th house, so you could be changing the way you just go about your day and your routines. You could be changing careers right now, or jobs, I would say, not careers, but changing positions. You could be relinquishing a lot of control and responsibility for whatever reason that may be. Okay, with the High Priestess, I feel like, so here's the thing about all the signs so far and what this new moon is bringing for all of us. This new moon is going to be somewhat of a tower moment for everyone. And I say that because the new moon is opposite Pluto. And so Pluto's here to wake us up to something that we're not seeing, either by choice or it was just simply hidden from us. And it's going to radically transform us. We're going to be put through an experience, if we haven't yet already been put through it, that is going to be really disruptive. On some level, it could be really bad. It could be really painful. On another level, it could just completely shift everything in your life, right? Or just shift something within you that will eventually change everything outside of you. The positive side to this is that it brings us that much closer to ourselves. And I also see a strong desire for people to come together. I mean, Leo is the pride. It is the pack of lions. It's called a pride. It is the community and working together and things like that. And so there's a need to dissolve away the divide, which is really difficult because we have Saturn and Aries, right? And it's all about the individual. So it's like on one end, we need to be individuals in our lives and really focus and rely on ourselves and do what's good for us. You know, the saying, like, how do you change the world? Well, you change yourself. That's all you can do. By doing that, it allows us to have a greater sense of humanity, right? Because we can recognize the humanity within ourselves by going through this process. And Pluto in Aquarius, the last time it was there was during the American Revolution and the French Revolution over 300 years ago. And so we're likely going to see something like that somewhere, either back in America and in France or elsewhere in the world. Either way, there is a strong desire for us to come together as a community. So with that said, I feel like you guys are definitely really overwhelmed by everything that's happening. I mean, you guys are definitely one of the most, if not the most sensitive sign out of all of us, okay? Because you're the culmination point of all the zodiac. You are the master zodiac, okay? Pisces represents Jesus Christ, or represents Christ consciousness, right? It is the goal, okay, for us to evolve and reach to that higher frequency, that higher self. So when we pass on and we move on into the afterlife, wherever we may go, when we pass on, we are that much more evolved than when we first came here, than when we were born. And so Pisces has that responsibility in their life, okay? They have those experiences in their life, whether you're a rising sun or moon. You even have another personal planet there, especially if you have Saturn in Pisces. And Saturn's in retrograde right now, and it's going to go back into Pisces one last time, and it won't be back there for another 30 years. And so as a Pisces, you're going to be affected by this, okay? You don't have to have anything at the end of Pisces to feel Saturn's effect. So yeah, Saturn's coming back around. He will be back in Pisces at the very end of August until November. It will be retrograde, and then I forget when, sometime next year, it'll be back in Aries, okay? And so it's one last go around. It's one last opportunity to really refine and define yourself, to really shape and mold yourself into the best possible version you may be. And with the High Priestess, this has a lot to do with your spiritual authority, okay? So Pisces is definitely a psychic sign, and I find no doubt in my mind that anyone watching this video is definitely connected to their spiritual path. And, you know, maybe you have a lot of spiritual knowledge or religious or occult knowledge or whatever it may be. This is a time for you to really own that part of you, okay, for the next 6 months. It's somehow included into your daily routines, into your 6th house routines, okay? You could be changing, like I said, you could be changing jobs, you could be changing habits, okay? Now with the 4 of Wands, okay, that tower moment, whatever it may be, is going to lead you to that. So the tower moment could even be some kind of psychosis, some kind of mental breakdown, some kind of weird spiritual, metaphysical, meditative dream, whatever it may be, some kind of experience that doesn't make any sense, but you had it, right? It was real to you. And so you want to be careful, because you could be you want to ground yourself for the next 6 months too, because you could be really thrown off. I mean, you have Pluto in your 12th house, man. Like, so much is going to be revealed to you. And all Pisces. That's crazy. I never really considered it. I'm a Pisces moon. But with Pluto in the 12th house for Pisces ascendant, which also affects the moon sign, especially, you know, rising and moon, there's so much you're going to see, especially if you're, if you do partake in these things. If I wanted to say, if you are prophetic, if you are a lucid dreamer, or if you just, you know, you're tuned into the other worlds that exist, there's going to be a lot that you're going to see. There's going to be a lot that's going to be revealed to you. Okay. And with the Four of Wands, I think you're given an opportunity to make these things a reality in some way. So there's some kind of initiation happening as well. Okay, there's some kind of, because with the 6th house, you want, and I know this, I'm familiar with this. I have Moon and Pisces in the 6th house. Very difficult placement. Okay, so it's about taking that other reality and bringing it here into the physical reality. Okay, so dream work is a big part of that, and we exist here in the physical reality, and it's hard for Pisces to exist here in the physical reality because their natural state is the other worlds, the other realities. So you have to figure out a way to live your life that suits both realities for you, because Pluto's going to give you so much to like see and focus on, so many activations. Okay, now if that's not what you're interested in, then just you're gonna have to stop watching tarot readings and astrology and stop dealing with these sorts of things if you don't want to go through this. The more you engage with these kinds of things, because like this is what I'm doing, is I'm conjuring with spirits. Okay, divination is I take tarot readings very seriously. I don't expect anyone to take what I'm saying seriously, but I take this shit very seriously. By you watching this video, you are creating a tie to me, okay, an energetic soul tie to me, and I am to you. So it's serious shit, right? So if you don't want to deal with the High Priestess and what she has to offer, then don't engage. All right. And it's interesting, there's Page of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, and under that's the Sun card. So that's all about like being rooted and grounded, but you need to build that groundedness. Okay, with the Four of Wands, that also speaks of that groundedness. Okay, it's the foundation that you've built for yourself. Okay, it's a completion of some kind. So you can be seeing some kind of completion of spiritual practice, religious practice. If you are going through an initiation of any kind, there's going to be a completion of that within the next 6 months, or now, and then you'll see the effects of it for 6 months. So I feel like there's a lot I could say and expand upon, but I think I'm gonna stop. I think these readings need to be short this time around. So for now, I'm going to put your oracle card up on the screen along with the book's description, so you may want to pause the video or take a screenshot. And that concludes this reading. So I do thank you so much for watching, Pisces. I'm sorry if I'm cutting it short, but I think I got what I needed to say out. I'll watch your other signs if you think you need more support, or you could even book a private tarot reading with me and I can look directly into your energies and whatnot. If you don't want that, if you don't want what the High Priestess have to offer, then please, you gotta stop engaging with it. Otherwise, I think if you engage with it, you could really like tap into things that are really magical, but also, you know, you need to have caution with that. And also, you can't tell everybody, okay? You can't share this with everyone, okay? Keep that in mind too. A lot of your experiences you're gonna have to keep to yourself, and you're gonna have to be okay with that. So yeah, with all that said, thank you so much for watching, Pisces, and I will catch you in the next video, and I wish you all the best.